Welcome to April 3rd, Lowell School Committee meeting. We'll salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome all the students out here tonight. Good to see everybody, parents as well. Hopefully we have a good meeting for everyone. With that being said, Madam, roll call, please.
Ms. Del Rossi?
Here.
Ms. Doherty?
Here.
Mr. Lay?
Here.
Ms. Martin?
Here.
Mayor Rourke?
Here.
Mr. Bahu?
Here.
Mr. Conway?
Here.
7 present.
Special order of business 3.1, Spotlight on Excellence, the Catherine P. Stocklosa Knowledge Bowl Competition 2024. Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. School committee members and Mr. Mayor, we have with us Dr. Rebecca Duda, who has been responsible for, she is the coordinator of extended time programs, and she's been responsible for a lot of organising and running of our Catherine P. Stocklosa Knowledge Bowl. She's with us, and I'd like to have her introduce our winners to you. Ms. Duda.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. It's my honor to present to you our winning team tonight from the Daily, but it should be noted that these students, all the students who participated in the Knowledge Bowl, have worked tirelessly with their coaches since the fall to prepare for this annual event. And they've just all the teams were remarkable this year through the first round, the second round, and of course the championship round. So we should all be very proud of them. And I'd like to turn it over now to the coach of the Daily School, Karen Miranda, and she'll introduce the team.
Good evening, Mayor Rourke, Superintendent Skinner, members of the school committee. My name is Karen Miranda, and I am the Daily's Knowledge Bowl coach, along with Alejandro Bonilla, who's also my former student. He is a current student pursuing teaching at UMass Lowell. It is a privilege to be here tonight celebrating the academic accomplishments of these 12 outstanding players. They embody everything schools desire from our students. They have curiosity, drive, adaptability, discipline, perseverance, cooperation, responsibility. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year for the Daily. We had only one player, Nathan Ong, who was with us last year. Everybody else is brand new to the team. So our goal this year was just to have fun, get some new kids involved, get some new blood, and see what happened. And through their hard work, what happened was we took home the championship for the 3rd time. And it was unexpected, but it shouldn't have been, based on all of the hard work that they put in. So we're incredibly proud of them. I also would like to say that I feel like this year, the competition was some of the most competitive it's been in probably a solid decade. All of the middle schools really came out to compete this year. They all had phenomenally intelligent, poised, mature students. And so I think the Knowledge Bowl is one of the best programs that the city of Lowell offers in its public schools because it shines the light on academics. And while sports and clubs and all things are fantastic, and I did all of them, the ultimate priority of school is to educate and to focus on your academics, and I think these students did an impeccable job with that. I'm going to now turn the microphone over to Alejandro before we introduce the students. He is much better with words than I am. Alejandro.
Good evening, Mayor Rourke, Superintendent Skinner, and members of the school committee. As you have heard from Ms. Miranda, my name is Alejandro Bonilla. I study music education at UMass Lowell, and in my spare time, I get to coach this wonderful group of students who come together and do this thing we call the Knowledge Bowl. I would like to raise a fun fact, because he may be too humble to admit it himself, but some of the best stories I've heard about the Knowledge Bowl tournament have come from plays from Superintendent Skinner's own children. I've heard, as a player, when I was a former player myself in middle school, many great stories about his children competing. And as much as they were role models to me, the students that I work with now continue to be incredible role models and leaders, not only in their aptitude of various different academic subjects, but also in their leadership, their tenacity, and overall resilience to just take on any challenge that we throw at them. I think that the Knowledge Bowl program, and this team especially, exemplify the kind of leadership that we can promote in this district. And I firmly believe that with the skills that these students have obtained over the past several months, they have the ability to become not just incredible students, but incredible leaders in their communities as well. Thank you.
So I would like to now introduce you to the students from the Daily School who are here tonight. I also want to begin actually by acknowledging Owen White. He is a 6th grader. He's one of our alternates. He was unable to attend tonight, but we want to make sure his name is heard. With us tonight, maybe you can wave or stand. Maybe stand when your name is called. Ten Goy. Ten is in our 6th grade. Also in 6th grade, Andrew Protopopescu. Our 7th graders are Logan Boy, Vsauth Hoare, we have Annabelle Brown, our team captain, our returning player, Nathan Ong. And we have 5 8th graders. The first is Nathan Kim. We have James Boy. Emma Ford Hunt. Valentina Villa. And Jordan Wangia. And I believe 1 or 2 of these students would like to just share a few words about their experience. Nathan, if you'd like to come on down.
Hello, Mayor Rourke. Hello, Superintendent Skinner. And also hello, school committee. It's been a wild season for the Daily Lions Knowledge Bowl team, but in the end, we came out on top in a rematch of the 2022 finals to take home not only the trophies, but also a three-peat, becoming the first school in recorded Knowledge Bowl history to do so. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge some people. I'd like to first thank our coaches, Ms. Miranda and Alejandro, for helping us a ton this year and coaching this team for years before. That yelling they did at us to study as much as we couldn't have run without it. So once again, thank you, Ms. Miranda and Alejandro, for coaching the Daily Lions Knowledge Bowl team. Next, I'd like to thank my teammates. It was a large team effort to accomplish this win. We could keep cool and overcome struggles even at our lowest points in the season. Every single member of this team, no matter what role they played, was able to help one way or another in the season. And that doesn't only apply to the final 10 of our team. Our alternates on the team worked just as hard as everyone else, even if they didn't play. Thank you to them too. Last but definitely not least, I'd like to thank everyone who supported us along the way. I'd also like to especially thank our principal, Mr. Doyle, and vice principals, Mr. Alves and Mr. Asquith, who were there for all the matches we played. Everyone who came that night to the finals was a motivational boost. Our seats were so full that some people even had to go to the other team's seats. So all I have to say is thank you for that. One last thing I'd like to say before talking about my experience in the finals is that the Stocklossa's performance this year was amazing. I just wanted to give a personal shout out to someone on the team whom I enjoyed working with at the regionals last year, Charles. Their effort on the team shouldn't go unnoticed even if they didn't win. They're quite literally the epitome of never backing down. Anyway, moving on to that finals match. It was a nail-biter of a match. Coming into speed, it was Daily 235 and Stocklossa 160. You would have never believed it was Daily 275 and Stocklossa 260 at the end. All I have to say is good game to the Stocklossa and Pine as they demonstrated that they wouldn't go down easily. Because of this, I'm looking forward to seeing Lowell's lineup in the regionals. We have some skilled people this year and we don't go down without a fight. Overall, I enjoyed my season with the Daily Lions Knowledge Bowl team, and I'm looking forward to what Lowell has to offer in the regionals. After all the ups and downs we went through, in the end, we became the first school to achieve 3 consecutive finals wins. Thank you for listening, everyone.
Thank you, Nathan. Was there anybody else who wanted to speak? We also want to thank and acknowledge Ms. Topshin and Ms. Adams, who help coordinate so much of the Knowledge Bowl. Patty Adams is there every night doing all of the speaking, all of the questions. It's very stressful. And Ms. Topshin has been there for as long as I can remember on the scorekeeping board. She does a fantastic job. So we want to acknowledge them as well. And we have found out that the regionals will be May 6th and May 7th at Drake High School. And there will be a team from Lowell comprised of 4 daily school team members, 3 students from the Pine, and 3 students from the Stocklosa. And we look forward to trying to bring the regional Knowledge Bowl championship back to our great city of Lowell. Thank you for having us here tonight.
Any comments from Ms. Doherty?
Sorry, I just have to say how much I love the Knowledge Bowl. Congratulations to the Daily team. And I think that, as I think Ms. Miranda mentioned in her speaking part, that you are role models for your fellow students, your leaders, and it takes a lot of courage. Anyone who participates in the Knowledge Bowl, it takes a lot of courage and work to be on the Knowledge Bowl. And I think that you're all winners. Just for being part of it, you're winners. But the Daily, you really should be proud of the work you did this year. And I would like to also say, I think we are continuing to have issues with fairness with the citywide schools not having busing. I think that's a problem for their teams. They don't have busing home if their kids stay, because a lot of the work might be done after school or before school. And I that's a challenge for us for next year with getting the busing. But congratulations. Thank you.
Any comments? Once again, congratulations to all and best of luck May 5th and 6th, and do us proud. Thank you once again. Moving on to section 4 minutes. 4.1, approval of the minutes of the regularly scheduled Lowell School Committee meeting on March 20th, 2024. I need a motion by Mr. Conway, second by Mr. Bahu. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Section 5, yes.
May I? Just normally we take photos with, sometimes we take photos with the, so I'm wondering if that's.
Sure. Come on up.
That's a great idea.
What?
We'll be in the back.
Congratulations, guys. Awesome job. Thank you.
Moving on, 5, permission to enter 5.1. Permission to enter April 3rd, 2024. Need to approve the permission by Ms. Doherty, seconded by Ms. Martin. All those in favor say aye. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Del Rossi?
Yes.
Ms. Doherty?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Rourke?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Section 6, motion 6.1 by Mr. Conway, request the superintendent reach out and identify an outside security company for the purpose of conducting a total safety and security assessment of the Lowell Public School system. Furthermore, the request the superintendent to contact the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to see if they will partner with us about this safety audit. Second by Mr. Bahu. Mr. Conway.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't think there's anything more important than the safety and security of our schools and our children and our staff. And when you take a look at the numbers, we have over, I believe, 15,000 students, and I think it's somewhere in the vicinity of a little over 3,500 employees, whether it's full-time or part-time. So we're talking about close to 20,000 individuals each and every day, whether it's students or staff. And, you know, as a parent, I think, I mean, I remember was sending my two daughters off to school. Obviously, I want a great education, but number one priority was to make sure that they were safe and they came back in a safe fashion. So I think that what's very important is that we don't get complacent, and not that people are complacent, but once you feel that everything is safe, that's where the issue, I think, might erupt. Because at the end of the day, you know, the individuals, the bad people, as I've often said, they don't rest, they continue. So I think it's important to be proactive instead of reactive. So, excuse me. And I realize that the school budget, we're going to have issues with the school budget, there's no doubt about that. And I think what's important is that, you know, we have a great police force. I've worked with them for many, many years in the schools. But the fact is they have a day-to-day job, just like everyone else. And when we have an issue in school, for example, we have our administrators, they have Leadership Academy. We bring in some of the best because we want the best education for them, best practices, and that sometimes certainly comes within, but also it comes from without. And we go outside and look for consultants and so forth. And I think when we're talking about security, I think that's extremely important. And there are people, there are companies that do this on a regular basis that are constantly bringing up best practices. And I think that, again, I realize that's going to be a budget issue coming up, but and perhaps we can do this in phases too. You know, we could start off with, you know, let's say that, I'm just using this example, a high school, and then have perhaps 3 or 4 phases, whatever that consulting company might recommend. So I hope my colleagues vote for this motion, because I think it is extremely important, again, to be proactive instead of reactive. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Great. Any other comments? So just from the chair, the motion itself, I think, is worthy. You know, I would like to talk to our local police department as well. I think that Mr. Conway's comments about the Lowell Police Department, I believe that they are the best in the state right now. I would like to see what they could offer us and talk to us first, or maybe what we could be working on, what our strengths are, if we do have weaknesses. You know, maybe before going out to an outside company. So, Mr. Conway, if you would be obliged to do that first, maybe to see if what Lowell Police Department thinks about what our school security is and what they do, what they offer us, and what we're lacking in some areas. You know, I would approve that. Just to go straight out into a, you know, an outside company or outside firm at this point in time seems, you know, a little bit much, but maybe if we can get a report from the superintendent of the police to see what he thinks and what the police department thinks as well, I think would be just my own opinion, just one vote to go that route first. So I'll leave that out there.
Right, I understand what you're saying, and again, it is I have worked with the police department as a teacher and a housemaster for over 35 years. I'm very well aware of the great work that the police do. There's no doubt about that. But in any profession, I don't care if it's the legal, the medical, the business, education. There are always different things that we could do that a company that does this on a regular basis, and this is their job. Their job isn't to give out tickets. Their job isn't to stop people that are speeding and so forth, or breaking into a building. Their job is to come up with ideas and procedures on how to make our school system as safe as possible. And I really think that it's worthwhile to go outside and talk with an outside firm that has the expertise in conjunction with the police, too. I mean, obviously, you're not taking the police and they're part of this, needless to say, part of the equation, a very important part of the equation. So I personally think that we should be going out and, excuse me, and bringing in somebody to give some advice going forward. And maybe after they take a look at it, they say, well, you know, you guys are doing everything exactly the way it's supposed to be done, that's fine. But maybe they have some ideas that can make things safer. And again, dealing with security, dealing with the police, every year there's always something different and there's something new that we have to learn in our schools.
Ms. Doherty?
Thank you, Your Honor. And I guess I'm in the position of seeing both sides of this issue because I know in the past we've done our own safety audits. We have police officers at the high school, as Mr. Conway is aware. We have, I think, upwards of 90 cameras. And, you know, I don't remember the last time we actually did a safety audit to really look at what needs to be upgraded or not. So I can see that there's a benefit in the exercise. I also can see, because I was one of the people that supported the idea of getting an outside person to give us an organizational audit. And by the way, since I mentioned that, I'm really waiting to see that. Like, you know, we need to see that right away so that we can start making our budget plans. So I would be in the position of, let's see what kind of investment we'd be looking at to have an outside company come in and do a full assessment, or maybe just start with the high school. Or what. I'm not sure that we have some explosive problem. I feel like we have been on top of things. I know there was a fight this week, but there have always been, I mean, I remember when I was in high school, there were fights that happened when my kids went to, you know, so I think that if we go through the exercise of looking at what would an outside consultant bring us, you know, what would they provide and what would they cost? I don't know if that costs money to do, but I would be in favor of that as opposed to just outright saying no. But I think we should be looking at updating our safety, because I don't remember the last time we did it. Thanks. And I'm not sure what this, if I could, through you, ask the maker of the motion, are you looking for us to make a commitment from this motion, Mr. Conway, that we're going to go to some outside agency without reviewing what the costs would be and what they would be offering?
Oh, of course they have the opportunity to review the monies, but I think what's important to do is, again, to have a company that this is their expertise to come in and take a look and to say, okay, you know, there are certain things that you should be doing. And as I said, I think that if it's done perhaps on stages of phase 1, phase 2, and so forth, and I think we owe this to the, you know, 20,000 kids and staff to make sure. I mean, we're dealing with $250 million budget right now. $250 million. I certainly think that we can find monies that we could have an outside concern come in and take a look at our safety procedures right now. I find it to be the smartest thing to do at this particular point. And I understand if people disagree, you know, that's why we have 7 people here and we have roll calls and we have votes. It's up to the body of the committee what they want to do. So I'd like a roll call on that too, Mr. Mayor, after people speak.
Ms. Martin and Mr. Lay. Ms. Martin?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I really more procedural than anything. I think we're all trying to get to the same place, to be honest. I think the first phase of this is the development of the RFP. And that development should be happening in concert with the Lowell Police. It should be happening in concert with our, internal staff. That's the process that the superintendent and his staff need to go through to develop what we're really requesting. So that's going to be what puts the parameters around the RFP before it goes out to bid. That way, if as the superintendent and his team goes through that, that's what this committee is going to get, that we can then vote up or down on, that it contains everything we want, or if it's missing something we want to add. But the actual RFP process allows us to get the best insights from the police department, from our internal staff at the high school, and then they'll be able to kind of shape what it is we're looking for. That then comes to the committee, and we can then make a determination if there's anything we want to add or delete to kind of fine tune it. But I think that, that just the bid process itself forces us to go through this initial review process to include all the kind of stakeholders. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Lay?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I agree with Ms. Martin in terms of going through the process, and I like Mr. Conway's intention that safety is very important, and we should start thinking about it seriously. I do not want to overlook the Lowell Police Department in terms of safety. I do want them to get involved. So for me to vote right away to hire this outside firm to start the process is a little bit uncomfortable for me in a way that I prefer at least knowing what they could offer differently from what the Lowell Police could offer. So that's my opinion. So if we could have another step, and just to invite them to give us presentation what they could offer, what they do, and that how much it would cost us. Maybe that would be a more comfortable step for me. Thank you.
Any other comments? Mr. Bahu?
I think this motion has a lot of value. I'm sure we all know that our student safety is paramount to what we do. And realistically, we had a safety audit over at Greater Lowell Tech last year, and we had a company come in and make many recommendations that we follow. And we thought that we were an extremely safe school. But after implementation of a number of their recommendations, we feel a lot better with ourselves. I know a safety audit can cost a lot of money. I do like the idea of having a request for proposal, an RFP, and I think that would be the direction to go. I also know that we have a safety auditor, and I think we should include our safety auditor, our police department, see what they have to say, and then have a request for a proposal and see if we can come up with some type of solution so that we can make sure that our students are safe at all times. There's a lot going on at Brockton High School right now. There's a lot going on, that we worry about, and our students have to be prepared for them. Let's prepare ourselves to make sure that nothing really happens to them.
Mr. Rossi?
I just think that there are also a lot of students missing school because they're afraid of what's going on at the high school right now, and they're not feeling protected. And I've heard a lot of that, and that is my biggest concern, that students don't feel safe. And I feel like Mr. Bahu said, there are things that we never thought of when we were going to school that we have to think of today, that we have to take into account. And I think it is paramount to have all of it, the Lowell Police involved, the safety coordinator involved, an RFP made to assure the ultimate safety of all of our students. Thank you.
Thank you. So, again, I'll just say that I'd like to hear from our superintendent of police first to see what concerns that he may have going forward. Mr. Superintendent, I don't know how you want to go about doing it. If you're comfortable with just taking it as is and moving forward at this time. But I think just to go right out to an outside company for the purposes of this, I think is a little premature at this time. So if you want to do a roll call vote the way it is, we can go from there. But you know, I said my piece. Gisela?
Yeah. First, before that, I think we should look more internally before hiring somebody else. Because I think earlier I was planning to talk to the head of school about like our drills that we do, and they're really not efficient. Like for our gun drills or whatever, we go all run to the songs. Like how is that efficient? I think before we look outwards, we should kind of reform what we already have. Like I think like when we have a fire drill or like an armed shooter drill, like one of our evacuation methods is like everybody just meets up at the Songus. I don't think that's safe. I don't feel safe if that were like to actually happen. Luckily it hasn't, knock on wood. But yeah, I think first we should reform our tactics before we like go outwards.
Thank you. Mr. Conway?
Yeah, just one last thing. I don't want to lead people down the wrong path here. Obviously, we're going to be including the police department. Anytime you do an audit, the people that are involved are part of the process in that audit. So that I still think we need to, you know, as you said, meet with the police, meet with all the individuals that have to deal with safety and security. I understand that. But I also think that we should be bringing somebody in to help give some advising us. And also, it's not like they're going to, you bring somebody in and say, okay, it's going to cost, here, you know, write the check out for $300,000 or whatever it is. I mean, I think if you bring a company in, they can start picking away at some of the issues and problems that have been perhaps neglected. And again, it can be done in phases. So I still think we should be bringing somebody in, and I don't mean to be paying them right off the bat. I mean, obviously, they're going to, through you, Mr. Superintendent, come back with a report to say, listen, we've met with the police, we've brought in companies. This is what companies can do for us. I mean, does people in here really know what a safety audit is for a school system? I don't know. I have no idea. And I've been in the school system for many, many years. So I think it would be important for us to get that type of information too. So again, I know we're going to disagree with this, you know, Mr. Mayor, but I think we should go forward with.
Well, I think what you just said I would agree with, but not the motion.
Oh.
Already.
I wonder if we could just do a friendly amendment that says, request the superintendent develop an RFP and identify an outside security company, and then keep the rest the same. But that the first step is going to be to developing an RFP, which would require all the stakeholders,
Right.
the local stakeholders, the internal stakeholders be involved with that. Because I think that is what we're talking about.
That would be fine for me for
Want me to repeat it?
a friendly amendment.
Right, I just want to say, request the superintendent, instead of reach out, just develop an RFP and identify an outside, and then everything else is the same.
Ms. Vine, go ahead. Well, it is a school committee, it is a school committee, so sure, yeah. So a second to that motion by Ms. Martin, the friendly amendment. Madam Clerk, you have that?
Develop an RFP and identify an outside security company.
To identify.
Okay.
And I would just request, Mr. Superintendent, in the report that you have outreach to the Superintendent of Police for his opinion as well. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 6.2, motion made by myself, request both current and possible new drug prevention programs offered in the Lowell Public Schools. This, second by Ms. Doherty, thank you. I'd also quickly like to make a motion to the rules to allow a public speaker on this motion that I should have informed him to call the clerk, which I'll take responsibility for not doing so. If I could have a second on that, Ms. Martin, all those in favor say aye.
Mr. Keefe?
Okay.
O'Keefe?
Mr. Mayor, can we
Yes.
bundle my motion?
Absolutely. I'm sorry. I apologize, Ms. Del Rossi. Also, what's that, 6.5? 6.5 as well is request superintendent to provide cohesive, comprehensive training for all district social workers to be trained on family substance abuse efforts on the middle school through high school students. Seconded by Mr. Conway. All those in favor? Good. Mr. O'Keefe, go ahead.
First of all, thank you, the Honorable Mayor Rourke, Superintendent Skinner, our esteemed school board. I am Brian O'Keefe. I am a Lowellian at heart. I'm a 91 graduate of Lowell High School, right across the street here. But I currently work for the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Administration, and I spent the previous 25 years prior to the last 3 as a police officer in Manchester, New Hampshire. So dealing with the substance abuse crisis that we have today and listening to the school board meeting thus far, I understand that budgets are a major part of every school board. I can tell you that what the DEA offers for drug prevention and education is very simply free of charge. It doesn't cost anything. I can tell you that the Albuquerque, New Mexico just picked up this actual program known as OperationPrevention.com. And we can go over this a little bit after, but I can tell you the Albuquerque School District, I believe, is the 8th largest in the country, and they've already signed on for this. And it's all evidence-based. DEA is partnered with Education Foundation of the Discovery Channel, and the content that we receive is from NIDA, which is the National Institute for Drug Abuse, and SAMHSA, which is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health. I forget the last 2 letters, but essentially we get this information and we pass it along, and it's evidence-based. There's standards of learning, so the teachers can look at these modules. There's a plethora of modules, from 3rd to 6th grade, 9th to 12th grade, and then you have some 6th to 8th grade as well. So these modules can be taught in any of the schools by any of the teachers. It can be implemented in health programs, science programs. It's trauma-informed care. As we know, that's an important part of today's day and age. We have anxiety, depression, suicidal ideations. Everything is elevated the last few years. And what we're looking to do is to get the DEA's message out there that last year, America lost almost 112,000 Americans to a drug overdose or poisoning. And out of that 67% contained fentanyl, which is an illegal opioid. It's a synthetic opioid. So essentially, we lose 305 Americans every single day, which is 1 American every 4.5 minutes. So to get our program or our education in the Lowell School District would be huge for not just us as an agency, you as a city, but America as a whole. And, fortunately, I met with the mayor and the police chief and the city manager not too long ago, as well as the superintendent, and it was the day after Lowell had a giant drug bust. And the sad part is, when I did the numbers and reviewed based on what we know, evidence-based, just 2 milligrams of fentanyl is considered a potentially fatal dose. That's the tip of a pencil. Out of that drug seizure that the city of Lowell had a month ago, that had the potential lethal dose to kill 1.9 million people. Middlesex County contains about 1.7 million people. So that one drug bust here in your city. So all I ask for you is to review this. I sent along some notes to the Honorable Mayor earlier. I would love for you to read it, research it, look up OperationPrevention.com. And if anyone has any questions whatsoever, everyone knows how to get in touch with me. I don't live too far from here, and I'm more than happy to sit down privately, publicly, and discuss this. I just appreciate the opportunity, not just for myself, but on behalf of the Drug Enforcement Administration, to have the honor to speak in front of everyone today. And I would be remiss not to mention Mr. Steinberg. I was fortunate enough to speak to the Wang School today. I had, 75, 80 students. I do presentations throughout New England, and I can tell you, those students at the Wang School asked an unbelievably amount of questions that were on point, just well thought out, well educated questions. I was thoroughly impressed with this group today, and congratulations to him and the school district in general. And if anyone has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ms. Doherty.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think this is a great idea, and I know we are waiting for the health curriculum. We now have middle schools. Every middle school has a certified health teacher. That was new this year, and they have been working, the task force has been working on the curriculum. I think this would be a great place to be launched, at least for our middle schools, not that we couldn't use the program at the other grades as well, but I'm looking forward to getting that curriculum. I want to know where we are with that, but I think that's a fantastic opportunity for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dory. Ms. Del Rossi?
Well, thank you for all of this information. I think that something that overall, especially in middle school, the kids at the Wang and throughout the high school, they're dealing with a lot of things at home and family signals of substance abuse, and for our social workers to be trained in terms of signals and what students could be exhibiting would be huge for them, or especially within themselves, exhibiting symptoms that their family could be exhibiting from substance abuse because they're maybe using too. It's a cyclical effect. So thank you for coming here, and thank you for offering Operation Prevention.
Mr. Bahu?
We all know that drugs are a major crisis, not only across the United States of America, but right here in the city of Lowell. And it's vital that we teach our students and do modules in health class and science class, is an outstanding, it's a great place to start. And I think it's something that should be done regularly. And I know when I went to school that they taught about drugs as well. It was sort of more softer drugs that are unfortunately illegal today. But there's always a stepping stone within the drug world. So it's important that we go ahead and teach kids about fentanyl, which is really something that I never learned about when I was younger. And I just really have one question for Mr. O'Keefe through you, Mr. Rourke. And you said that you spoke at the Wang Middle School today, Mr. O'Keefe. Would the DEA offer more speaking engagements like at the high school and at other middle schools to reinforce what we're teaching in the classrooms?
Absolutely. I speak throughout New England. In fact, I was in Portland, Maine last night. I think I reached 1,300 kids just in the last month throughout the New England region. So we're more than open to coming down whenever, wherever. I'm not afraid to drive, and I'm not afraid to be out at night.
And again, no cost to our school district?
Zero cost. This is 100% free program. I get paid to do community outreach in the New England region, and I'm more than willing to go anywhere, especially the city I was born and raised in.
Outstanding. I'm going to fully support this motion.
Got a motion to have Mr. O'Keefe speak at middle schools throughout the district. Mr. Bahu?
Absolutely.
Seconded by Mr. Conway. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Well, welcome to the team, Mr. O'Keefe. So appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
All right, take care.
Greatly
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Also, I'd like to just take a moment to recognize Principal Steinberg. It was him and his civics class that reached out to me through an email to speak just about the subject about drug and drug prevention. And through the cause of that, we're here tonight. And I know that today's event was very successful. And thank you for mentioning the students over at the Wang for all their participation into the program. And if the students of the Wang could just stand up and be recognized for a moment. So thank you very much for your contributions and outreach. If you want to just come to the microphone and say your name, that'd be great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm Kathy Clark. I'm the 8th grade teacher, or one of the 8th grade social studies teachers at the Wang School, and they actually want to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Hello, we are Miss Card's 8th grade class of 2024 at the Dr. Ann Wayne Middle School, and we want to change the view of substance abuse in our community and how people look at it. We want to make it so it isn't too much of just like a taboo topic in Lowell schools. We also want to do some advocating to integrate substance abuse prevention education, a part of the school curriculum for Lowell public schools all around the area. Having substance abuse prevention education is important because if kids our age actually know the negative effects of drugs and what they can do to a person, it has a great possibility of less kids using drugs. With more knowledge of substances in schools, we can save the generation from the grave consequences of drugs. And as Mr. O'Keefe said, nearly 112,000 people in 2023 have died from a drug overdose in America.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jevstar Loom, and we are asking for you to help us bring substance abuse prevention education to the Lowell Public Schools by helping us to adopt a curriculum. If possible, we want to make this necessity a part of health or SEL curriculum.
My name is Giovanni Cruz. One option that we can use for a website to teach drug prevention education in middle schools is Project Here, which is a novel web-based app for middle school students to learn about healthy decision-making skills through mind games, quizzes, and real-life scenarios. Project Here provides free resources to educators across Massachusetts to teach substance use prevention to middle school students through grades 6 through 8, in order to empower students to make healthy decisions to promote social emotional learning regarding substance abuse.
This organization offers free. This organization offers for use to lesson plans and activities on topics such as safety of cannabis, opods, and their potential dangers and the body's response to them, drugs and how they negatively affect the brain, nicotine and how it affects the brain, and the body's response to cocaine.
So we have this like book that you can like bring into the schools. It's called Sunny's Story. It's written by Ginger Katz and Marcy Al. I don't know how to say that. The book is in the POV point of view of this guy's pet dog, and he like watches the kid like grow up, and then the kid starts like use drugs, and he eventually overdoses, and it's a true story. And I think it'd be like appropriate for 5th graders. Like kids in our class have like reviewed it, and it would be like appropriate for 5th graders. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. So, Mr. Superintendent, you have information to get this started?
I do. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you very much. Excellent. 6.3 by Ms. Doherty, request superintendent and mayor work with appropriate city designee to get handicap ramp installed at Shed Park Pavilion to make it accessible to all. Second by Ms. Martin. Ms. Doherty?
Thank you, and I believe that the superintendent has an update on this motion. It just came to my attention that some of our schools do their field trips at Shed Park, and one school in particular, the Bartlett, has 18 children that are have mobility challenges, many of them in wheelchairs, and they're not able to get to the pavilion. So I'm hoping that we can get this resolved in time for field trips this spring, but superintendent has an update. Thank you.
Superintendent?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, Ms. Doherty and school committee members, it happens that I had a meeting with DPW Commissioner Paul St. Cyr earlier this week, and knowing this item was a motion, I took the opportunity to get a little head start on it. So he and I have agreed to install an aluminum ramp. There's some considerations where it will be have concrete footings to make it sturdy and secure, and yet not interfere with construction that is going to occur at that site. So I wanted to have a projected completion date for you, and I don't have that tonight. I know that Mr. Sincere has been working on pricing and ordering and contracting and so forth, but it is in the works. I'll be happy to report back when we have it in place. Yeah. Thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 6.4, Mr. Rossi requests the superintendent to provide a cohesive, comprehensive training for all district social workers in order to be thoroughly trained on the warning signs of child trafficking in order to help lead presentations for students who are concerned about child trafficking. Seconded by Ms. Doherty. Mr. Rossi.
Hi, and I apologize to my daily school friends. I promised them I would try to suspend the motion,
You have
and I
registered
wasn't.
speakers. You want to have them speak?
What?
You have registered speakers on this?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was invited to speak in this class, so I would just like to preface this with child trafficking not being the same as human trafficking. Child trafficking happens when an older adult takes advantage of a younger person, maybe in a work setting. Young children's minds aren't really formulated or fully formed until they're 25 years of age. So any adult that tries to take advantage of them, and we see this happening all of the time, so it's not just what we would see on the border states and so forth. But I had the pleasure of going to Mrs. Miranda's class and talking a bit with them and meeting the students, and I know they're a registered speaker, so thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Gabriella Piera.
Good evening, members of the school committee. My name is Gabriella, and I am a student at the Daly Middle School, and I'd like to tell you why I think this motion should be passed. Recently, my class has been researching the topic of child trafficking for our civics project, and as part of our research, we interviewed our school social worker. We asked what kind of training she has about child trafficking, and she said she was only trained once, and that was 10 years ago, for only 2 hours. She said she wanted to see more training for educators and social workers in particular. If she received more training, she would be able to give presentations that would raise more awareness about child trafficking and warning signs. If the district could provide social workers with a whole day of training, she would be able to help students with the help they need. Our social worker talked to 5 other social workers in Lowell, who also said the training 10 years ago was important work, but none of them received any additional training either. This shows that there is a need to provide more training and instruction for social workers in Lowell so that they can provide more support and resources for students who are at risk. Thank you for listening, and I hope you pass this motion.
Miranda Hing.
Good evening. I'm Miranda Hing, an 8th grader from the Daly Middle School. As you may know, child trafficking isn't widely talked about here in Lowell. Even you may not have known much about it yourself. If you don't know what child trafficking is, it is a form of abuse where a minor receives something that is valuable in exchange for a sex act. It is dangerous and illegal. Because nobody really speaks up about it, child trafficking may not seem to be much of a big problem. However, in reality, that's not really true. Homeland Security investigations has seen a huge influx of trafficking cases throughout New England. The National Human Trafficking Hotline received more than 10,000 reports of trafficking in 2021 alone. In Massachusetts, the rates for child trafficking have increased by 86% since 2021. Yet we don't really know or pay too much attention to that. Social media is a major reason for this dramatic increase. It is too easy for adults to contact children and for children to be influenced to do something unsafe. Also, it is important to note that here in Lowell, we should pay attention and support the new refugees who are going to the Inn and Conference Center and will be entering Lowell Public Schools. Refugees are at high risk of being trafficked because they are vulnerable and don't have as many opportunities to make money and secure housing. Spreading awareness about this topic is really important for the safety of those who are at high risk, and training social workers will help spread awareness. Thank you.
Noah Miles Doe.
Good evening, Mayor Rourke, Superintendent Skinner, members of the school committee, and everybody here tonight. I am Noah Miles Doe, an 8th grade student from the Daly Middle School. I would like to tell you about why our curriculum should expand to include lessons on child trafficking. Child trafficking rates have been rising in New England every year since 2021, yet Lowell's curriculum has no information about it. Before my class project's research, I did not know what child trafficking is or what it looks like. For as long as I have been in Lowell schools, I have not seen any mention of child trafficking. There is no information about what to do if you are being trafficked or what it looks like if other people around you are being trafficked. Although we do learn about important topics like mental and reproductive health, with child trafficking becoming more of an issue, students should be made aware of it. Finally, our teachers have not received any training on child trafficking either. Our teachers haven't received any information on the signs of child trafficking or how to help a student who is being trafficked. If you pass motion 6.4, our social workers will get more training and can then help educate our teachers and students on the warning signs, and everyone will be more educated and aware. Thank you for your time.
Xavier Vasquez.
Hello, Mayor Rourke, Superintendent Skinner, and fellow school committee members. Hello, I'm Xavier Vasquez, an 8th grade student from the Daly Middle School. The problem of child trafficking has been here in Lowell and the world in general for a long time. It is just never gets attention or talked about at all. My classmates and I want to raise awareness about child trafficking and help in any way we can. Children may not even know if they're experiencing is trafficking because it is not talked about enough and they do not realize they are victims of abuse. To help raise awareness, I think social workers should be taught the warning signs and schools should have presentations that help kids understand and learn about what child trafficking is and means. This will lead to social workers teaching kids and helping kids who are in need. This motion will be a great first step in raising awareness and educating more people about child trafficking. Thank you for listening.
Thank you to the students very much. All well said, well spoken. Nice job. Ms. Doherty?
Thank you, Your Honor, and congratulations to the students. You guys did a great job. Thank you. I have a friendly amendment, if Mr. Rossi would consider it. I also met with the students in Mrs. Miranda's class about this issue, and one of the things we realized, part of the teach the trainer model, so in your when you say, in order to help lead presentations for students, I would like to add and staff. And then I would like to add a sentence that says to also look into the delivery schedule for social worker trainings. Because I think currently they're meeting 2 hours a month. And just we heard some feedback, just anecdotally, that they would prefer to be able to do a deeper dive, like a full day or a half day. And I'm not saying that's what they should do, but to have them look into that if they want to make some adjustments to how they're doing their professional development, because the social workers are going to be key for many of the work that we're trying to do. We have invested heavily in social workers, and I think it's been a wise investment, but looking at how we do their training so that they can then turn around and lead presentations for our teachers who, as it was mentioned, it was 10 years ago. So that would be my suggestion, if you're okay with that, Ms. Del Rossi.
I'll have to ask them. They helped me develop the motion. What do you think? Yeah. Yes.
Well done. Excellent. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Section 7, reports of the superintendent. 7.1, strategic goal, full service community schools and out-of-time programming. Mr. Superintendent?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Committee members, this is one of several strategic goals that we're reporting back to you on, our progress on it. The report in your packet is a combined effort by Ms. Phillips' office and Ms. Desma's office, and particularly Ms. Phillips' office as well, Dr. Segura Morales. So each of those three individuals are here tonight. I also want to offer you the option of having this be taken up in subcommittee where, as we discussed recently, reports of this nature can be given more full attention.
Motion by Ms. Doherty to send to a subcommittee, second by Ms. Martin. All those in favor say aye. Ms. Doherty?
I would just ask that we could, when the subcommittee does meet, that we could have more data that specifically addresses, I know the Career Academy has been doing this for the longest time. So just for my colleagues who are new, this is a 5-year, $500,000 a year grant, $2.5 million that the Lowell Public Schools got to do this community school model, which has been highly successful in New York City, California. I mean, it's really about, you can read the 30-page presentation, I won't go into it, but I think that it's so driven by data to be able to say, what are the impacts? The government requires that as part of the, what we have to meet for the grant, to what we have to do for the money that we're getting. And I think it's good for us to know as we look at further investments in the community schools model. So I didn't see anything here that specifically spanned the Career Academy and what their numbers have shown. So I would just request that added data. And then I don't know, where do you think this should go? The Equity Subcommittee? Whatever you think. Thank you.
I'm happy to have it go to whichever subcommittee you're interested in. The Equity Subcommittee would be perfectly fine, yes. Yeah, thank you.
Sounds good. 7.2, motion response by Besta Rossi, February 7th, 2024, regarding financial wellness curriculum.
Thank you for the response. I find it very interesting that the same professional development website the teachers will be taking, EverFi, is the same one that the students will be learning from, the same platform. So I think that is a nice cohesive type of transfer of information overall without any mistakes. So thank you for this response.
7.3, response to motion by Mr. Bahu, 2724, regarding Chapter 74 Voc Ed program. Mr. Bahu.
Yes, it looks like Mr. Skinner and Ms. Desmond have been working hard on developing Chapter 74 programming. This is a nice overview of what has been done to begin to have vocational programming here in the Lowell Public Schools. It looks like it's sort of, progress in motion. It looks with the possibility of 3 programs upcoming with marketing, culinary, as well as ISSN. I know that there are other options that we can look at, and I also know that it's a progress in motion. Sometimes, we can't have one program because of another school in the area not offering or already offering it. I know that could be a hurdle for us. And I sort of, would like to speak towards criminal justice. I believe that, we're very low on police officers. We're very low on prison guards. We're also low on security guards over at the airport. So I'm not sure that if ISSN does not get approved by the state, that maybe we could start considering criminal justice as an option. And I noticed that there are so many other options here too. So I'm really excited about this, and I thank you for the update, and I look forward to watching this become a viable option here in Lowell Public Schools, especially considering we're about to open our new complex at the Freshman Academy and using our current Freshman Academy for more space. This is very exciting, and I thank you for this report.
Mr. Lay?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When I read this report, what popped into my mind was vocational skills. Vocational skills, when I read, I thought of something traditional like construction, plumbing, electrical work, and automotive, etc., welding. I understand that some of the programs may need some spaces, but I'm just wondering, could we at least have one of those programs in it. Would that be something possible? I understand that, you know, plumbing and electrical, maybe all you need is just one room and you don't need, I understand construction and automotive may take a big space, but plumbing, electrical may not.
Mr. Superintendent?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Lay, these are good questions. So if our inclination at the start is to go for programs that are fairly doable and that we can stand up relatively quickly. And we also need to avoid programs that our Greater Lowell Vocational Technical School offers. Right? We're not in competition with them. It's true, however, that they have far more applicants than they can accept. And when we worked with your colleague, Mr. Bahu, we were considering as well making Lowell High School engaging for students who wanted a vocational program at the vocational school and were not accepted. But right off the bat, we need to get into programs that will be contained in a classroom. We can't offer, for example, car. I've been to visit the vocational school. It's very impressive. They have a mechanic shop, full-fledged garage where they, repair cars and so on. They have a wood shop where they build things and so on. We cannot offer that type of programming at Lowell High School, and we don't want to, and nor can we compete with the Greater Lowell Vocational School. So we need to start with the type of programs that you see on offer. We're also, by the way, working with the Department of Education on this, and they have to approve the types of programs that, including they need to double check that we're not trying to steal a march on the vocational school. So we're limited a little bit, and we're choosing some strategic options to start with.
Mr. Bahu?
Yeah, I just have one more question. I know when I made this motion, Ms. Doherty helped with coming up with an alternative plan, which is to develop some type of vocational programming over in our junior high school with wood shops and such like that. And I know the state offers that, and I'm sure that our advisor, Mr. Bourgeois, could speak to that, because I know he offered that when he was over within the public schools that he was at many years ago. So hopefully that would be a topic as well.
Great, thank you. 7.4, motion, response to motion by Mr. Rossi, March 6, 2024, regarding Lowell High School security documents. Mr. Rossi?
Thank you for this response. I guess I just want to echo the sentiment to my colleague, Mr. Conway, in regards to let's be proactive and not reactive in terms of Lowell High. If there are security staff that are sick on authorized leave, that's our students that are or could be at risk. So let's have a proactive plan and not a reactive plan. We've been very lucky at Lowell High School, very, very lucky. And I just want to keep that going for our city and just assure everybody's safety. Thank you.
Ms. Doherty?
Thank you for this report. I do like to ask for a follow-up, because I think we need to start prioritizing. I'm not against putting more cameras at the high school, but my understanding is half our schools don't have any security cameras, and that I don't know which ones those are, and that our middle schools are very limited in their security, as well as what do we need in terms of door access readers, things like that. So if we could just get a follow-up of what's happening in terms of priority security needs in the district as we're looking to invest some funds in this area. I think we need a full picture of where we are. Is that okay? Do I need to make that as a form of a motion? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
7.5, response to motion by Mr. Rossi, March 6, 2024, regarding air quality testing. Mr. Rossi?
Thank you for the update on this. I did notice that it was on the Pawtucket Memorial website today under the Our Schools tab. Not that I know how to interpret the data, but at least it's there for anybody who does. So thank you for that.
7.6, response to motion by Mr. Conway, March 6, 2024, regarding athletic programs. Mr. Conway?
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank I want to thank Dr. Desmond and also the athletic director, Scott Olet, for this motion response. If you've had an opportunity to go through it, it's absolutely incredible. I congratulate both of you on that. And I have, I've been told, which I think is a great idea, some of our sports on the high school level haven't had a lot of participants. I know that back, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, I don't think we had a boys tennis team, if I recall. I think there was a couple years. And as someone that has filled in to be the, and I coached the boys tennis team for a while, I was saddened to see that. So I'm very happy that the athletic director and Dr. Desmond have got together and coming up with ideas and strategies to increase the number in our teams. And I think by concentrating on the middle school, it's just common sense where what we're doing is we're enriching those high school teams with a feeder system from the middle school. So instead of going through this, Mr. Mayor, if we could put this into a subcommittee and we can really vet this out and let the public know the great things that are happening in not just the high school, but the middle schools, and to let our kids know, too, so that they can participate in those sports. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Athletic Subcommittee?
What's that?
Athletic Subcommittee? I'm guessing.
Yes,
okay.
please.
By Mr. Conway, second by Mr. Bauer. All those in favor say aye. Motion passes. 7.7, response to motion by Ms. Doherty, March 6, 2024, regarding social media website posting. Ms. Doherty.
Thank you for this response, and I'm happy to see that our meetings are being covered this way, posted. Thank you.
Great. I need a motion to accept the reports of the superintendent, 7.1 through 7.7, as reports of progress by Ms. Doherty, second by Mr. Lay. All those in favor say aye. Motion approved. 7.8, home education. Need a motion to approve by Mr. Rossi, second by Mr. Conway. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Mr. Rossi.
Yes.
Ms. Doherty. Yes. Mr. Lay.
Yes.
Ms. Martin. Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Mr. Bahu.
Yes.
Mr. Conway.
Yes.
7 yeas.
Mr. Rossi?
Before we go on to new business, I just want to bring up the solar eclipse that's going to be happening Monday, April 8th, right at dismissal time.
Motion by Mr. Rossi. Take some out of order. Second by Ms. Doherty. All those in favor say aye. Mr.
But
Rossi.
wait. No, I'm not finished.
I know, but you got to do a motion so you can speak. on it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
I know you knew it. This,
I thought you were quieting me. So it's going to be happening right at dismissal time. And the issue with that is that there are going to be, if anybody looks at the sun, students, teachers, bus drivers out at dismissal, they could be at risk of losing their vision, right? And so I know some districts have purchased the special solar glasses, but I didn't know what our plan was in the district, and I have heard some concerns from constituents about what's going on, what is our district's plan to keep our students and our staff and our bus drivers safe throughout the district. And I just want to address that since it's coming up on Monday.
Superintendent?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Del Rossi. We also are concerned. It happens that the eclipse is right through our dismissal times, like in several schools. I believe it goes from maybe 2:15 roughly until after 4. And so it's during the dismissal time in several schools, and when students are traveling home. We have the actions we've taken so far are that we've met with all administrators from all schools and asked them to message to their staff and to students the dangers of looking at the sun any time, but particularly during the eclipse when they'll be tempted to do so. We also have a sort of a blast of messaging to go to families and parents to also ask for their support to warn their children, right? The only other option we've thought, and that some school communities are considering, is an early release day. But we so far have made a judgment that, to simply release the children early to home doesn't necessarily mean that they'll be safer. We are messaging parents. We've already had some discussions with all school leaders. We intend to do so with school bus drivers as well. And, we think that that's the best route that we can go. I'm happy to take committee advice on it and take other options into consideration.
Just go ahead. So.
I think an early release would be the best option, but I have actual reasoning, all right? Because if someone looks into the eyes, like into the sun, while it's dismissal, we're going to blame it on dismissal and not ourselves. But if it's early release, you guys can be like, well, we released you guys early and you still looked at the sun, so that's not our fault. But if it's at 2:30 and like all the students get into a car crash at the garage, then it's our fault.
So perhaps an early dismissal with no homework that night as well?
I'll take the homework, just early release.
You want to stay in school until
I would stay
after 4?
Stay in school till 7 o'clock that night. You want to do that?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest concern is I don't know how people can control their eyes, especially a bus driver. Your eyes have to be all over the place, right? And looking to make sure you're safe. How do you assure you're not going to be looking at the sun? Or a kid who maybe has a learning disability who doesn't get not to look at the sun.
For a bus driver, hopefully your eyes are on the road, right? Just out of curiosity. Mr. Doherty?
I think I lived through an earlier eclipse. I want to say I was a kid.
About a bunch of them, right? Yeah.
I don't remember it being such a scary thing. You wouldn't look at the sun anyway, so why would you look up at the sun? I mean, I think a Connect Ed call, talking to kids about it, but I don't think we need to get out early, sorry.
It's a good try, though. I appreciate it. Terrific class president. Anything else? Thank you for the concerns. Moving on, new business 8.1, request approval of doctoral research study proposal. Need a motion to approve by Mr. Bahu, second by Ms. Doherty. Roll call.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Ms. Doherty?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Rourke?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu? Mr. Conway? 7 yeas.
8.2, approval to accept and expend allocated FY24 awards. Need a motion to accept by Mr. Lay, second by Ms. Martin. Comments? Roll call.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Ms. Doherty?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
Ms. Martin? Mayor Rourke?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
7 yeas.
8.3, budget transfer. Need a motion to approve the budget transfer of $269,704.58 by Mr. Conway, seconded by Mr. Bahu. Questions? Roll call.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Ms. Doherty?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
Ms. Martin? Mayor Rourke?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
7 yeas.
We have two conference convention requests. 9.1, overnight request, Lowell High School, Washington, D.C. 9.2, overnight request, portrait of graduation in Burlington, Vermont. A motion to approve by Ms. Doherty, seconded by Ms. Martin. Questions? Roll call.
Mr. Rossi? Yes. Ms. Doherty? Yes. Mr. Lay?
Yes.
Ms. Martin? Mayor Rourke?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu? Mr. Conway?
Yes.
7 yeas.
10.1, members of the United Teachers of Lowell hereby donate 13 sick leave days to Iris Candelaria, Salvo Middle School paraprofessional, and 23 sick leave days to Kristen Cologne, Lowell High School teacher. A motion to approve the special personnel by Mr. Lay, second by Mr. Rossi. Questions? Roll call.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Ms. Doherty?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
Ms. Martin? Mayor Rourke?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
7 yeas.
Mr. Lay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to ask for point of privilege. Today is the...
Mr. Lay, second by Ms. Martin. All those in favor? Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Lay.
Thank you. Thank you. So, April 13 this year is the Cambodian New Year's Day. Normally, without the leap year, it would happen on April 14. So Lowell High students, they will celebrate Cambodian New Year on Thursday, April 11th, before the holidays week. And that would be, I think, between maybe 3 to 7. So just like to extend the invitation to everybody who wants to attend. And otherwise, happy Cambodian New Year. Thank you.
To you as well, Mr. Lay. Thank you very much. That's just said, motion to adjourn by Ms. Martin, second by Ms. Doherty. Have a good night.